KEYC News Now to Go is sponsored by River's Edge Hospital and Clinic, people caring for people.
Moments like these make life worth living. River's Edge Hospital and Clinic is your partner in taking control of your own health. Take your steps towards a lasting tomorrow. River's Edge Hospital.
Hello and thanks for joining us for this KEYC News Now to Go update. I'm Jackson Jurek. In a few minutes, I'll be joined by First Alert meteorologist Kate and Lohr with a look at today's forecast and gorgeous weekend beyond. We'll start with local news. 2 buildings involved in a partial collapse in Waseca on Wednesday are declared uninhabitable, but it could have been much worse. A section of 115 South State Street collapsed just after 1 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. Nobody was hurt, but several residents have been displaced. City officials inspected the building, and the next step is to shore up the south wall that has been confirmed not a safety hazard adjacent buildings or pedestrians. Building official Dan Murphy says the building was on the city's radar after inspections earlier this year resulted in 2 units being evacuated.
Yeah, first notice, received a phone call from the owner in January, towards the end of January, wanting me to look at the structure itself. Advised him to contact a structural engineer and a general contractor to look at what needs to be done to safe that wall so it wouldn't collapse. His report was that he was concerned for the safety of the 2 units at the rear of the building. So that would be the rear of 115 South State Street. 113, he did not have a concern for those units at that time, so that would have been March 14th. Because I asked him that question too, would that wall, if that collapsed, would that affect 113? And he said, you know, not to a point where public safety would be concerned. March 18th, I followed up with orders to remove those people for their safety. March 25th was the deadline to have the wall shored so that it wouldn't be any further movement or failure. Okay. And it was not shored at that time. The owner was being responsive, so he missed that deadline though. He was actively working on it when I called him, so he's like, yep, getting things lined up, got a contractor ready to roll. And in the meantime, that wall did collapse.
Murphy says a feasibility study will determine whether it's even possible to repair the building or if it needs to be demolished. Several residents say they've also aired concerns about the building's safety. Photojournalist Tony Barrackin spoke with several people about what they're going through.
I came back home and I noticed that there's like a big chunk of the building missing, more than before. And so I sat there for a minute and all of a sudden the building just started crumbling. And I wasn't even in park yet. I just pulled in and I was about to go upstairs because I wanted to take a shower.
We used that door to go inside. I mean, we had to walk in front of that building. Could have fallen on anybody. We have kids there. I have a grandson that comes there. He had just gotten there. That building could have fallen on him. It could have been dealt with a lot differently. Things could have been saved. I mean, I know they're just things, but our animals were in there for hours. The building could have fallen on them. Everything I own, it's all up there. Everything for my son. I have a 2-year-old son, and everything that he had his whole life is up there. Well, I was too scared to go inside, so my brother and my best friend went inside to grab a few things. The main important thing that I wanted to grab was my son's ashes and my best friend's ashes. I feel like everybody made me seem like I was crazy. Like I was just kept making complaints, and nobody was really listening to it. I don't know who it was on or whose fault it was. I just know that we were unsafe and we should not have been living there. Whoever's responsibility it was, we should not have been living there.
Continuing with local news, court records show attorneys for a man charged in the stabbing death of a Quick Trip worker last month intends to rely on a defense of mental illness. Michael Lee Miller is charged with second-degree murder in the killing of Dennis Waseca. Authorities say Miller entered the Quick Trip on Madison Avenue back on March 18th and was acting strangely before stabbing Waseca 43 times. In court papers filed on Wednesday, lawyers for Miller requested a halt to criminal proceedings until Miller receives a mental evaluation. In an accompanying statement, Defense Counsel said Miller displayed a low level of understanding as we tried to discuss legal concepts, which was heightened by his difficulty discerning reality from fiction. That document also says Miller displayed an unusual behavior at work earlier that day, including talking to himself. A vigil for Vosika is set for 7:30 tonight at Sibley Park in Mankato. In national news, China says it will impose reciprocal 34% tariffs on all imports from the United States from April 10th, making good on a promise to strike back after U.S. President Donald Trump escalated a global trade war. CNN's Mark Stewart reports.
Put that in bold-faced type. This is a really big deal. These tariffs, these 34% tariffs on all American imports, are the fight back that China said it would do if pressured by the United States. These additional tariffs, because there are already tariffs of anywhere from 10 to 15% already in place, these tariffs will certainly hurt the American economy in the sense that they will really hurt the heartland of America, as in America's farmers. Right now, if we look at all of the products that China imports in from the United States, soybeans top the list. Soybeans are needed here in China because they are the ingredient that fuels the pork industry, which is one of the top commodities in this part of the world. So these additional tariffs are very strategic in the sense that they will hit farmers in the middle part of the United States. We're still waiting for the timing and the implementation of all of this, but this sends a very big statement. Also important in all of this is the timing of all of this. This is a very sacred holiday weekend right now. This is a time where families take time to remember those who have passed away. For the government to do this late on a Friday afternoon, early Friday evening here in Beijing really talks about the weight of all of this.
Caitlin, the rain and snow that we got has really helped out those farmers that have mentioned for this upcoming planting season with the drought monitor that we had been closely paying attention to for the previous weeks with a drier winter here again this year.
Yeah, you know, and the biggest thing, the biggest sign of relief is knowing that we didn't get as dry as we have seen in the past with dry winters or dry summers even. So to know that we're not as far behind as we could be is already relief. But to see the improvements, whether they're minor or major, is also relief, knowing that this rain that we've been getting, even though it might be soggy and damp out there, might not be your favorite, is doing so good out there. In fact, here's what the drought monitor looks like, which is updated every Thursday. So this is the most recent drought monitor, and we are seeing those improvements. Now, if you're not remembering exactly what it looked like, I'll kind of walk you through it with what the update shows. Now, before, this little strip of yellow that's now connecting parts of southern Minnesota to parts of northern Iowa was not there. A big chunk of this yellow section was actually this tannish color indicating moderately dry conditions. So those improvements are going from moderately dry to abnormally dry. We're also seeing this pocket of normal conditions right up north of the cities grow and expand. It's almost across the cities now, coming a little bit more south and a little bit more west. So even though you may not like the soggy conditions, all the precipitation, whether it's rain or snow, I know a lot of you guys are not liking the snow at this point, just know, remind yourself that it is so good for the area. It is so good for the ground, and especially our farmers, knowing that we are seeing those improvements every week on the drought monitor right now. The downside is, though, after today, we're looking at rather dry conditions through the extended forecast. The only thing we have after today is a couple isolated chances from Tuesday night to Wednesday night of next week, and that's only because we have a warm front passing through the area, and sometimes, regardless of what kind of front it is, it can lead to the development of rain, but it's only looking like maybe a stray shower chance or two. And even today, the rain we could see is going to be so light. Most of it is going to be from along the western border from Pipestone north and east, from there through Marshall and Redwood Falls, reaching up towards Hutchinson a little bit later this afternoon. Most of that rain, though, is going to be around that Marshall area where you see these darker greens on your screen. The lighter greens indicate the chance of a sprinkle or maybe a drizzle. So a couple drizzles possible near Hutchinson, but here from New Ulm east-southeastward, including Windham and Worthington east-southeastward of there, maybe just a few sprinkles and then just cloudy skies for the remainder of the day until later tonight when a small line of showers moves through the area. The very weak cold front that could bring in some light rain to the area anytime between 10 and midnight tonight from Mankato, southwest of there, and northeast of there, though that will clear up rather quickly with maybe a stray flurry. And the only reason we could see that transition to a flurry is just because the temperatures are going to drop into the upper 20s by tomorrow morning. Though today, high of 50 degrees, even though we have that stray shower chance, it's going to be mostly to the west of us. Get out there and enjoy the wonderful conditions tonight. Again, that chance for a rain-snow mix, but mostly going to be rain. The only time we'll see that transition to a little bit of snow is if that precipitation lingers long enough to where those temperatures are reaching the low of 27 degrees. Tomorrow, sunshine, a little bit breezy, but not too bad with mid-40s. We're going to hold on to that sunshine and talk about April showers bringing May flowers. We'll probably see some tulips and other types of spring bloom in the near future, maybe next week with those 60s.
Look at that, 60 degrees. We're probably going to need some sunscreen.
With all that sunshine, absolutely.
I tell Stacy all the time, I was like, Stacy, we got to wait to put on sunscreen until we have a good base burn. And then we're good to go.
Hey, then you're good to go. You got to get that base.
She said no. She said no, but I know.
The meteorologist in me also says no, but I do know where you're coming from, and I do want to say it kind of does help sometimes.
I think I got one in Phoenix. I don't know if I'll still have it by next week, but we'll see.
Hey, you can start getting that base now and avoid the sunscreen and the burn if you start introducing your skin to that sun.
There you go. What an idea. Thank you very much, Caitlin. We're going to transition into sports now. Happy opening day to Twins fans. Baseball is back at Target Field. The Twins hosting the Houston Astros for Minnesota's first home game of the season. The Twins off to a hot start early in this one. Trevor Larnach with the RBI single to left field. Minnesota leads 2-0 in the first inning. Second inning now, Christian Walker launches this ball out of the park into the second deck. Astros cut the lead to 1. Next batter up, Jamer Pena, and he goes yard. Joe Ryan giving up back-to-back home runs, and just like that, it's a 2-2 ball game. Fourth inning, we're tied at 2 until Brendan Rodgers gets it through the middle for a 2-run single. Astros take lead 4-2. In the sixth inning now, Rodgers sends this one off the wall in left field. 3 for 3 yesterday. Astros score another run, extending the lead 5-2. Twins would not get a hit after the third inning. They fall 5-2 to the Astros. Here's Joe Ryan after the Ross.
Yeah, just tried to make an adjustment on a sweeper. Didn't really sweep, kind of stayed there, and he's a good hitter. So goes out, and then kind of the same thing on Pena. Just like obvious swing and miss there, and then climbed the ladder, and he was just ready for it. So, I just got to settle down there, and then obviously we're in a good spot until I should have probably stepped off a little bit sooner there. So that one's on me. But, besides that, I think we come through and put up another run and call it a day if I don't do that there. But, yeah, it's baseball.
The Twins are off today, but they'll face the Astros on Saturday at 1:10 in the afternoon. Well, thank you very much, Caitlin. I appreciate it. Everybody else, enjoy the weekend. Going to be absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for watching this KEYC News Now to Go update. Stay with KEYC News Now for the latest local news, weather, and sports on our website.
And download the free KEYC News and Weather apps for the latest headline and forecast.